Wash your head.
Yep, I'm a duck. Wash your head right here.
Yeah, I'm too small. I don't have that much.
Same. I don't think they're pretty tall.
I guess the Egyptians, they were my size.
Underground tunnel at the Khafre Pyramid in Saqqara. Private tour. Joining the live chat today. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. And everyone that's joining us right now, we got close to 1,000 people in the live chat. All right. It's going to be a great talk today. We'll talk about this brand new structure, which appears to be some type of ancient engineered technology underneath the pyramids of Giza. And it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing because all of a sudden, like I've been telling you guys for decades now, throw out the slave theory. Pyramids were not built by slaves. Just toss that into absolute trash. No slaves built the pyramids. And when we talk about this technological engineering feat today, I'm pretty sure by the end of this talk, you'll agree with me on that hypothesis. All right. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. What's up, Joe Cool in the house? All right. Got a lot of people in the live chat. This is going to be a great talk. I posted about this on Twitter. I think it got 2.7 million views in less than 24 hours, over close to 700,000 views on just an image post and a caption on my Forbidden Knowledge Instagram account. So it tells me that people really want to learn more about this information, and it gives us a lot of confirmation as well, because the majority of us have been talking about this stuff for a very long time. The stuff hidden in the pyramids, the stuff that we're talking about today are talked about in the Emerald Tablets that they keep trying to tell you the Emerald Tablets don't know what they're talking about. Somebody just made up a sci-fi story. Okay. They keep making up things in the Emerald Tablets that just seem to keep appearing on Earth in real time. Like they talked about the chamber that was discovered above the Grand Gallery leading up to the King's Chamber. They discovered that about maybe 4 years ago with a muon scan, right? But it's talked about in the Emerald Tablets. Huh? They tell you exactly where it's located. Now we've discovered everything, not everything, but this huge structure underneath the Great Pyramid, underneath this Giza structure where they have this pyramid plateau. There are all these rooms and cylinders, which we'll show and talk about today. Who talked about those already? Yeah, the Emerald Tablets. Read my book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. It's been a bestseller for 5 years. Number one. And number two, flipping back and forth. Sometimes Graham Hancock's number one, sometimes Billy Carson's number one in ancient Egyptian civilizations for the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. My newest book, which is The Mysteries of the Forbidden Emerald Tablets of Thoth, just came out a few weeks ago, and it goes deeper into the two tablets that were released much later. However, the information in these books, and the tablets, I should say, that I wrote about in the books, is astounding because, once again, the stuff that people keep saying doesn't exist, we discovered that it actually exists. The debunkers keep getting debunked when it comes to my information. Even the fake debate people, they've been debunked already by like several dozen real scholars. So the debunkers keep getting debunked. And when you look into these ancient texts, papyruses, cylinder scrolls, and everything else going on, you find that you're getting as close to the truth as humanly possible. It's amazing that Thoth talks about the halls of Amenti and describes them in great detail. And then all of a sudden we discover this underneath the pyramids And this information is now making international news. It's like ripping the airways. It's on everything, everywhere you look. This information's out there. And it absolutely destroys the pyramid mainstream, building theory. It destroys it. It destroys the mud ramp theory. It destroys the floating block theory. It just rips and shreds they use chicken bones and copper chisels, and slaves built the pyramids. If you're a religious person, it destroys all of those concepts, throws it out the window. All right, so make sure y'all click that like button. Click the like button and make sure you share this video. Again, click the like button so we can get the algo going, and make sure y'all share this video, because this is going to be some good information tonight. Hopefully y'all watched my JFK video. I went live the other night on JFK, and came to some serious conclusions based on that new information just freshly released and declassified. And I also have the link for you to go download all of those declassified documents in the caption of the video I just did a couple days ago on this account. All right, so make sure y'all go ahead and get that. Anyway, again, shout out to the live. We got 2,086 people in the live right now. All right, cool. That's great across all the platforms. Thank y'all for joining. Sorry for the little glitch on the live mic when we first started for about less than a minute, but we're good to go now. And everyone is here. That's right. I just saw something great. I just saw something in the live chat I want to put on the main screen. Hold on. I love this. That's right, John Burton. The debunkers keep getting debunked. I love it, man. I love it. Even in my weakest state, dying from pneumonia, I was still right. I'm just coming out of the hospital, bandage on my arm, and I'm still getting the knowledge out. Anyway, let's go, guys. Let's get into this knowledge today, all right? If you see me looking up, that's because I'm looking at my screen behind the camera as I'm getting some things together for you so we can break down this knowledge and get some understanding as to what's going on here. So let me get some information out, because this is going to be a great talk. I'm looking forward to this video. One reason why I didn't jump out instantly with a video, a lot of people jumped out with videos right away because they want to catch the algorithm. This information came out last week, was because I like to do research on the information and get some more base knowledge and some more understanding, and also see how I might be able to link this information to anything that I already knew or seen or read or saw or heard about, so I can get a bigger picture other than just a surface level of knowledge. A lot of people have talked about this, but it's just extremely surface, whatever they saw in the press release or some of the articles from the New York Post or whatever, and they're just kind of simply regurgitating. And that's okay. That's fine, because we're getting the information out. But I like to do some of the regurgitation, but I also like to add some of my own inflections, some of my own ideas, theories, concepts, and some of the links and ties that I've made to other things, okay? Now, this structure was found deep beneath the pyramids, okay, located at Giza. Where is Giza? Giza is a plateau located in Egypt. Now, where is Egypt? That is a country located in Africa, okay? So let's get that clear first of all, where the exact location. We're talking about the Giza Plateau, located in the country of Egypt, which is located on the continent of Africa, all right? And this place, as you guys know, I've been to many times. When this video clip opened up today, this live video opened, you saw it from my eye perspective, recording myself walking down underneath the Pyramid of Saqqara, going into some underground tunnels and shafts there. As you know, every year we lead people on these tours all over the world, and our mainstay, our biggest tour that we have every year is the Forbidden Tour of Egypt. And we take you to incredible places, even into hidden shafts, the new discoveries like what we're learning about today. We take people beneath the Pyramid of Giza, the Great Pyramid. We descend into the subterranean shaft. We just did that in October of last year, and we're going to do it again October of this year. And we descend beneath the pyramid 65 meters into other hidden chambers. If you want to see this kind of amazing stuff, you can only get it on the Forbidden Tour of Egypt. All right, I'll talk more about that later. And also the link to it is in the caption of this video. if you want to learn more and read the itinerary of all the places that we go and all the activities that we do on the Forbidden Tour of Egypt. All right. I just dropped a link in the live chat as well. Now, let's get into some of the information about this. Now, let's go ahead and debunk the debunkers right away. Let's debunk the debunkers immediately. Because what's happened is critics on social media, they're questioning how synthetic aperture radar can actually create the ability for us to see beneath these pyramids, okay? So what they're saying, I'm gonna read the exact articles. Criticals on social media question synthetic aperture radar, which is SAR, scan of the Great Pyramids using satellite radar beams can detect voids 2 kilometers underground or hidden chambers, assuming radar cannot penetrate deeply. However, this skepticism misrepresents Filippo Biondi's method. Filippo Biondi is a gentleman that made this discovery with his team. Unlike ground-penetrating radar, Biondi's SAR technique employs X-band microwaves at 10 gigahertz with a 3-centimeter wavelength. And that penetrates the ground less than 30 centimeters. Instead of directly scanning underground, it detects subtle surface vibrations, minute shivers. We're talking about Egypt there at Giza is always vibrating. It's like very light vibrations based on the tectonic plates. There's this vibration coming out of there with the electromagnetic field and everything else. It creates this unstable vibration, and that vibration triggered the resonance of voids deep below or even behind walls. And the vibrations are similar to seismic waves, and they generate a Doppler effect that SAR captures with high precision. Measuring variations in distance, direction, and frequency, they analyze these patterns across pixel lines, which are called tonograms, and Biondi maps the void's locations, tracing their mechanical surface effects back to their underground origins. So again, we're talking about a different type of a SAR, a newly upgraded version of SAR, which is utilizing the, which is actually not utilizing, but harnessing, I should say, harnessing the vibrations there at Giza, all right? Harnessing them, measuring them, and then creating this amazing scan of what's down there. So like I said before, we've already debunked the debunkers in the beginning of the video, all right? So throw away your debunking because it's trash. If you're saying, oh, you can't scan that deep into solid stone, well, yes, you can. These people are experts and Biondi did it, all right? It's a done deal. So wipe it from your mind. Don't waste your energy trying to debunk it. So what exactly did happen? Let me give you the update from the press release so you guys can get an understanding of why this discovery is so amazing. A research team comprising Corrado Malanga, Armando Mei, and Filippo Biondi and Nicole Ciccolo has unveiled new findings from a synthetic aperture radar scan of the Giza Plateau, focusing on the underground structures beneath the Khafre Pyramid. This initiative is part of an ongoing Khafre Research Project, which utilizes advanced satellite technology to explore the site's concealed architecture. Key discoveries in this: subsurface structures, that means beneath the pyramid, beneath the actual bedrock. The SAR scan revealed 5 small room-like structures within the Khafre Pyramid, centrally located above the chamber known as the Belzoni Chamber, which contains a sarcophagus previously misidentified as the pharaoh's tomb. In other words, it's not a tomb for a pharaoh. It's a structure that looks like a sarcophagus, but isn't a sarcophagus. It's something else. And I'm going to tell you what it is tonight. It's one of the halls of Amenti's rejuvenation chambers, and I'm going to show you some live video, not live, some pre-recorded videos live on this video tonight. Okay, so hang tight, guys. Hang tight. Vertical shafts were also discovered there. The team identified 8 large vertical structures, possibly wells or shafts, extending over 6,500 feet across and reaching depths of approximately 2,000 feet beneath the pyramid. 2,000 feet. These shafts, first of all, let's talk about the size of these shafts. Can you imagine something being 6,500 feet across? Not 3 feet, not 4 feet, not 5 feet, not the size of my desk, which is about 6 feet. All right? No, 6,500 feet across. And they're laid out in 2 rows, 2,000 feet beneath the pyramid. And they found a vast underground complex. The findings suggest, they say, that the presence of a substantial subterranean network beneath the Giza Plateau, potentially corresponding to the legendary halls of Amenti described in the ancient Egyptian mythology. Oh, they referenced the halls of Amenti from the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. Okay? This is incredible. I love it. And in the book, which I wrote 5 years ago, it's actually been more than 5 years now, probably 5.5 years, I actually talk about this discovery on page 34. All right, let me go back to the live chat. On page 34, I actually give you an image. Oh, here you go. I give you an image of what lie beneath the Great Pyramid, according to Thoth from ancient Egypt, when he ruled over the land of ancient Kemet before it was called Egypt. And I write in here, the lost labyrinth of Egypt is without a doubt one of the most incredible ancient sites that are a lost jewel to history. And the image credit is in here as well. Now, this is wild. This is 5.5 years ago. Look at the release date for my book, right? And I have an image of this thing already laid out with all the columns and all the halls. And I go in to talk about the 4th century Greek historian Herodotus records one of history's first tour guides to the ancient and to the Greeks. The mysterious Egypt, he says, I visited. This I have actually seen, a work beyond works. For if anyone put together the buildings of the Greeks and a display of their labors, they would seem lesser in both effort and expertise in this labyrinth. Even the pyramids are beyond words, and each was with equal, many and mighty, the works of the Greeks, many and mightier than the works of the Greeks. Yet the labyrinth surpasses even the pyramids. He's saying, Herodotus is saying, what's underneath there surpasses the work of building the pyramid itself. And anything the Greeks have ever done, this outdoes that as well. Okay? And it goes into talk about, well, I go back to the tablets again, because I mix back and forth between accounts and the tablets. And Thoth says, I, Thoth, the Atlantean, master of mysteries, keeper of records, mighty king magician, living from generation to generation, being about to pass into the halls of Amenti. These records of the mighty wisdom of the great Atlantis set down for the guidance of those that are to come after. In the great city of Kior on the island of Undal, in a time far past, I began this incarnation. He says, not as the little men of the present age did, the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die, but rather from eon to eon did they renew their life in the halls of Amenti, where the river of life flows eternally onward. We're going to talk about that river of life, and we're going to talk about the halls of Amenti and these rejuvenation chambers tonight. Okay? We're going to show you this stuff. It's going to be amazing. All right? Do you think Egyptian government already knew about this and were hiding the discovery? Great question, High Vibes. I think they had an idea that it was there, but until this technology came to scan it, now it's exposed, and now they're going to have to address it. They're already trying to figure out ways they can cover it up, because my contacts over there have told me that they don't really want to say too much about it at this moment, but they're trying to find a way to kind of like run it underneath the carpet. But it's too late. It's already been exposed. Great question. Though. Thank you for the donation. All right. We want to talk about these halls of Amenti today and the river of life that they utilize and the sarcophagi that they put their bodies in to rejuvenate them. And Thoth says they're located underneath the Great Pyramid. Okay. Then he says when he rejuvenates his body, he comes back, he says, but in a time yet unborn will I rise again, mighty and potent, requiring an accounting of those left behind me. Okay. And then he goes on to talk about his secrets and everything else, the secrets of how he rejuvenates his body and so forth and so on. But again, that's in the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets by Billy Carson. you may want to get this book and check it out. All right. It's already talked about this 5.5 years ago. And I give a complete description of what's down there. But anyway, here we are today, right? It's 2025. And once again, another proven object, another proven room discovered, or rooms, based on the ancient text. All right. Ashley Nicole Long says, thank you, Billy Carson, for the invite. I'm happy to be here listening to you every day when I'm driving my semi-truck. All right, now, appreciate you. Thank you. Have safe travels. All right. So anyway, Kim, hang tight, Kim, if you're listening right now. Somebody said they couldn't hear me, but you probably at the very beginning. All right. Eric Boykin says, when I hear rejuvenation chamber, I think Ra's Ghul from Batman. Yes. Great metaphor for that. Yeah. All right. Okay. Now, so we know that the ancient text talked about the rejuvenation chamber, talked about the halls of Amenti. We've got descriptions that have been now laid out, which I talk about in my book, of the halls of Amenti and of these underground chambers that exist underneath the Great Pyramid that go on for miles. Actually, the more you look, the more you're going to find. There's a tunnel that runs from the Sphinx to the pyramid complex, and from there it runs all the way to from there it runs all the way to the ziggurat of Ur in Iraq. Underground tunnel. Underground tunnels run from Giza to Iraq. Okay. And you're going to tell me some slaves did that too with some chisels and some chicken bones? I don't think so, man. I seriously doubt it. Like, I really seriously doubt it. Let's get back into some of this knowledge again. All right. Now, so like I said, I told you about the key discovery. The SAR scan revealed 5 small room-like structures within Khafre's pyramid, centrally located above the chamber known as the Belzoni Chamber, which contains a sarcophagus previously misidentified as the pharaoh's tomb. It was never a tomb. Never a tomb. Like I've always said from the very beginning, no matter, you find the oldest video, the oldest post I've ever made, and I told you there are no tombs inside the pyramids of Giza. Vertical shafts. The item identified 8 large vertical structures, like I said before, 6,500 feet across and 2,000 feet beneath the pyramid, which is linked to a vast underground subterranean network beneath the Giza Plateau, potentially corresponding to the legendary halls of Amenti described in the ancient Egyptian mythology, the Emerald Tablets. Now, let's look at something else here. So the team deployed Synthetic Aperture Radar, or SAR technology, using X-band microwaves at 10 gigahertz to detect subtle surface vibration caused by deep underground voids. And this non-invasive technique allowed the research to interfere or infer the presence of hidden structures without physical excavation. This is the New York Post. So they didn't have to go and dig and get backhoes and dig and create their own tunnels to go down and investigate. They did this all from scans, from the SAR scan technology, non-invasive and upgraded by this team to be able to scan through this solid stone and the bedrock and discover what's there. Okay. Now, a radar expert at the University of Denver questioned the technology's capability. This person questioned, Professor Lawrence Conyers questioned this instantaneously without even having any information or evidence or any idea or concept of how it worked or where it went or how they did it, without digging any deeper into the knowledge or any of the information. But he partnered up with Zahi Hawass, who's the biggest fraud of Egypt, in my personal opinion, who's been obfuscating true information and evidence about Egypt for decades and stealing other people's discoveries and putting his name on it and getting paid from all different sources. Those two together have tried to say, oh, it's impossible to make a scam like this. But actually, as you know, in the very beginning of this video, we debunked these debunkers already. So it's pretty interesting. This is crazy stuff. There's something megalithic underneath the pyramid. Let's have a look at some of these structures and you can see what I'm talking about. All right. So let me go back to the first slide. There we go. So here you're starting to look at some of what the scan picked up. You see these cylindrical megalithic columns that are 6,500 feet across. And above them, there appear to be bedrock and then some of these other antechambers, okay, that are right above. You have these circles and numbers pointing to these antechambers in these other areas, right? Here's another view. Now, I want you to ask yourself a solid question. These boxes that are underneath these megalithic 2,000-foot long cylindrical 6,500-foot wide structures, these megalithic boxes down there which perform some type of amazing function, are so large, and I have to read the exact numbers for you. They're so large that 64,000 people can fit inside of them. Okay? 12,800 square meters is 137,778 square feet. Depending on the density of the occupancy or how you stack the people in there, if you put them stacked on top of each other and side by side all the way across, or if you just have standing room only, tightly packed seating, 2 to 3 people per square meter would be 32,000 people. Office conference space type seating would be, only 1,280 people. But if you actually set it up where you just filled the entire volume with people, you'd fit 64,000 people in there. 64,000 people can fit within just those two. We're talking about a massive, massive space here. We're not talking about something, that is like, it's pretty nice and cool, but that's not that big of a deal. No, we're talking about a really, really big deal. It's a 2-kilometer underground city found beneath the Great Pyramids, okay? A 2-kilometer underground city. It's just bananas. And it seems to look like something technological. We're talking about something that literally, I'm just trying to find this one donation here and put it up on the screen. Hold on. We're talking about something literally that is so sophisticated that you have to have foreknowledge before you build it, okay? You have to have foreknowledge. You're not going to build anything like this without foreknowledge. Here we have another image here, so you can see the overlay of the pyramid structure, and you can begin to see the subterranean chamber going down. And you can also see the tomographic measurements and the scan, how it sends back to the computer the information and the data, so they can come up with this elaborate underground structure so that this is a real discovery. Okay? Uh-oh. It's an absolute real discovery. I'm trying to click this thing here. Got it. Okay. Daryl Nichols. What's up, Daryl? Hey, man. Daryl Nichols. My God. What a great guy, man. Appreciate you, brother. In the halls of Amenti, is the halls of Amenti synonymous with the labyrinth of the Hall of Records or the gates of Raul described in the Epic of Gilgamesh? Very similar structures. They basically have very similar functions, and so they do almost the same thing. So it's, again, to me, more evidence that this technology, this ancient technology, has been passed from civilization to civilization. It has not been found just in or talked about just here in Egypt, but also in Mesopotamia, ancient Mesopotamia, which is what he was just talking about. Daryl Nichols was just talking about. All right. So yeah, thank you, Daryl. Now, this is crazy because, again, this is the actual real scan of some of the area. And so you can see now that these scans are not only real, but we have the imagery. Okay. Thank you, Anna. Appreciate you so much. Now, let's go to this next one here. All right. Look at these cylinders, and you see that they have this coil going around them. Okay. This coil that's going around them may not just be lining or cabling. If you understand the size of each of these columns are 6,500, it's just, I can't, 6,500 feet wide, going down 2,000 feet. Those coils potentially could be something like a staircase, potentially. I doubt because if you scale that image up right there to a full-size actual image of the full scale, those coils would be megalithic. The coils themselves would make a human look like an ant. And if that's the case, they may not be cabling, they may be something else. My only hypothesis that I could think of is maybe there's some type of a walkway, maybe there's some type of a staircase, or maybe they are cabling that carries energy in some way. Maybe they're hollow on the inside until we can actually, if we ever able to really get a sample of this stuff and take a look at it and see what it is. Another hypothesis could be that it channels energy around these columns, and maybe it's got mica line inside of it to hold the electrical charge. We know that the halls of Amenti are energetic according to the text, and that energy that's used like a battery system is used to power these rejuvenation chambers, which are gigantic diorite and granite stone boxes that are megalithic. Some weigh as much as 1,500 tons, some weigh as much as a few hundred tons, depending on which one we're looking at, which I'll show you some tonight. Either way, when looking at this structure, what I see is advanced technology. I do not see a pyramid that's stacked by blocks like a Lego set just to have a nice looking building on the outside. I see foreknowledge, I see planning. To do something this huge and to get these columns that far beneath the bedrock, today, if you said to an engineer, can you do this? They're going to charge you, first of all, maybe damn near close to $1 billion, number one. Number two, they're going to tell you that they need to create technology to do this, or they're going to need to tell you how much excavation is going to be needed to make this happen. It could be done. We build high rises that have these huge steel beams going down deep into the bedrock, and especially here in Florida where I live on the ocean. This can be done, but it's not going to be easy. And they're going to have to use advanced technology to make it happen. Can you imagine a whole bunch of slaves with chicken bones and copper chisels and trying to use elephants to maneuver these giant megalithic columns into position? It's laughable. It's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. This is advanced engineering far beyond anything that anyone has ever seen anywhere on this planet for an ancient civilization. We haven't had this much verifiable evidence since I've been studying this stuff for the last 27 years. Okay? Just haven't had this much verifiable evidence. I guarantee you there's no chicken bones down there in the dirt. When they dig these up, when they finally get to looking into these, they'll find no chicken bones and no copper chisels around anywhere. They just won't be there. This is advanced technology, using advanced technology, advanced tooling, advanced foreknowledge, advanced mathematics, calculus, geometry. You need to understand levels. You have to understand the rock strata that you're working with to prevent collapse. You have to understand true north. You have to understand all of this stuff. It's mind-boggling, the stuff you have to understand. This is more evidence that the Great Pyramid is a multifunctional stone computer, as I've always said for many decades. That whole structure at Giza, with the three pyramids together, that's aligned with Orion, has a multifunction. It's not just one thing here or one thing there. They do many things. They were able to turn stone into machines. And what better way to have a machine when you're dealing with, if you're a species that has a capability of interstellar travel or interplanetary travel even, and you go to a planet to create a breakaway civilization, You're not going to be able to build warehouses and factories and hire people to work in them and create an industry, and then you can go away and they're going to be in there working and building things all the time for you. No, you utilize the resources of the planet to create things like this machine that when you go away and come back 1,000 years later, it's still going to be there and you can still make it work. And you don't have to have people running it. You don't have to have hundreds of people inside of a factory. How many people does Tesla employ? How many people does the SpaceX employ? Thousands of people. You can't do that thousands of years ago. These people found ways to make functioning machines run on a megalithic scale with hardly anybody having to interact with them on a day-by-day basis. Man, that's some super knowledge. No wonder why the people thought they were gods. No wonder why. This is magic to them. To me, it's just advanced technology. Okay? Advanced technology. It's mind-boggling. Here's another angle. If you look at this as from an engineer's mind, from an engineering mind, right? You look at these. You look at this and you see instantly, you see a machine. If I showed this image to you before I told you that this was underneath the pyramid, and I said, what do you think this is? You'd probably say you thought this was part of a machine. Okay? Thoth says, where did the idea of spiral-like columns come from? I read the original published paper from 2022. It mentioned columns, but no spirals. The spirals are coming from the actual scan images and the press release that came out recently. Okay? Thanks for asking. Thanks for the donation. So yeah, so you look at this and you say, this is technology. You instantly believe like, okay, I don't know where this came from or where he's showing me here, but this looks like part of a machine. And then when I tell you the scale, 2,000 feet long, 6,500 feet across, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, that's crazy. What is this? M. Wells said, have you looked into the Sphinx in Bashugi Mountains? Yes, I've done it I'm in a documentary from like 9 years ago. I think 9 years ago, I'm in a documentary about the Bushugi Sphinx. You could probably find it on YouTube somewhere. Thank you for your donation. Huber says, what do you think about being some sort of hydroelectric technology? It's exactly what I think it is. I was just heading into that, Hubris 423, that if you understand that the Great Pyramid was built on top of an aquifer, okay, built on top of an aquifer, and that the Nile used to run right up to the pyramids back in the day. Of course, it's dried out now and meandered away many miles. But back then, it was a very tropical area, and the Sphinx, the Nile ran right up along the Sphinx and the Great Pyramids. And underneath the Great Pyramid, I've actually been down there, where there are dried water tubes, where the aquifer, you can see it, you can stand in it, where the water used to flow. They're just dried out tubes right now. And if you have moving water through a structure like this that might be able to harness that energy, we know that moving water under crystal granite, which is the base, creates something called physiostatic electricity. Could this technology we're looking at now have harnessed that power and then in some way stepped up or amped up that energy and moved it around the complex underground for purposes unknown? One of which may be functioning, powering the halls of Amenti, powering some of these sarcophagi, these rejuvenation chambers. And also, as Thoth talks about in the Animal Tablets, he talks about that there's portal technology underneath the pyramid, and he uses that to go places. Could this be something that also helps to create they harness the energy and then create a stable wormhole for wormhole travel, for portal travel? That's what I say, multifunctional. There's so many things it possibly could have done. They were able to maximize this, not use it for one thing, but for many things, okay? For many, many things. Also, could there be another hall of records down there in one of these chambers that Thoth talks about as well, being hidden within the Great Pyramid structure? So there's a lot to this. There's a lot to this. This is like mind-blowing stuff, okay? It's one of the greatest discoveries going right now that unequivocally, in my opinion, proves that people with advanced technology, not stone tools and copper chisels and chicken bones, but people with really serious advanced tech and serious advanced engineering skills could put this thousands of feet and build beneath the pyramid and build a 2-kilometer city. High Vibes Cat says, what happened to the people who built this and how long ago? Thank you for the great question, High Vibes. I believe that the people that built this, a couple things happened to them. The first thing that I believe happened to them is that a lot of them left. I believe also left after the Second Pyramid War, which evidence of that is the sand having glass in it. I think it was a war. The Pyramid of Dozier also looks like it was fired upon and exploded. A lot of the debris has spread out over the sand. You could pick up charred pieces of brick. I think that there was a war. A lot of them left. But the other part is some of them made it with people. And I think that a lot of their bloodline are still walking the planet till this day, because these people are humanoids. They're not green men with antenna. They're real people, okay? Colin Powell says Zahi Hawass is going to, what is Zahi Hawass going to say about this? Well, Zahi Hawass already spoke, Colin. He already tried to debunk it. Well, he didn't try to debunk it. He just tried to say, well, we don't know anything about this yet. We'll have to look into it. It's such a mesmerizing thing. They're now surfing in their brainwaves trying to figure out, how do we make this smaller than what it is? Well, it's too late, Zahi Hawass. The cat's already out of the bag, and you won't be able to cover this one up. We're sorry. You won't be able to hide this one from the general public. Look for something else to hide and obfuscate, but you won't be able to do this one. All right. Great discovery, man. This is like, whew, wow. My brain is still blown because, again, I talked about this 5.5 years ago in this book. I've been talking about it for over a decade, but I wrote about it 5.5 years ago in the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. There's a rendering of it in this book before they come out with this official release and these official scans, okay? If you want to go to Egypt with me, and let me take you to some places to see the most incredible things you'll ever see on planet Earth, you have to click the link in my bio. Or, depending on where you're listening right now, if you're on X, the link is in my bio, okay? If you're on YouTube, I'm going to drop the link in the live chat. YouTube, Facebook, I'm dropping a link in the live chat right now. Thank you, Anna, for the super stickers. We really, really appreciate you so much. We appreciate you. And you can come to Egypt with me, and I'll take you underneath the pyramid. I'll take you to the subterranean shaft that no one gets to go in, because it has a big steel door and a huge bolt lock on it. And you'll be with me when I unlock that bolt lock and boop, and open that steel cage, and we'll go down 65 meters beneath the Great Pyramid into a hidden chamber. If you want to do things like that, the cool stuff that I get to do on this planet, I just dropped a link in the live chat for Facebook and YouTube. If you're on X, the link is in my bio. Come on the Forbidden Tour of Egypt this October, and I will take you to see things that will blow your mind. Your life will never be the same. Your life will never be the same. We got 7,000 people in the live chat right now. We're talking about the hidden structures, the 2-kilometer mega city that may have generated or transported power underneath the Giza Plateau, located in Egypt. That's what we're talking about today. Make sure y'all click the like button. Make sure you click that like button, and make sure you share this video. We're talking about an astounding discovery that, to me, should be on every news channel, every TV station. Forget talking about tariffs and polytricks and all this other stuff. Forget talking about making Canada into a country or a state or whatever the hell. Forget talking about all this other crazy crap going on in the world. Let's talk about this, because this proves a lot of theories dealing with ancient civilizations. It proves a lot. I mean, it proves a hell of a lot, all right? We now know that the people that built the pyramids had advanced knowledge. Let me explain what I'm talking about. Okay. Advanced knowledge means that you build something that you know is going to actually work. You know it's going to be completed to the exact specifications you started out with your conscious thoughts. The way that we build structures today, the architect, the master architect, has a conscious thought. That's where it begins, on the multidimensional platform in a conscious thought format. Multidimensional, why? Because we know that consciousness is multidimensional, as proven by the Brain Institute. That master architect takes those multidimensional concepts of that architecture and he collapses it into 2 dimensions by actually creating what we call a blueprint. Now, whether the blueprint is on paper, right, and connected lines, it's 2D, or inside of a CAD program on a computer where they actually eventually move it to, that's still 2D. Even though it looks 3D on the screen, it's still only 2 dimensions. So we collapse multi-dimensional concepts into 2-dimensional concepts. And within that, we see how we want it, the shape, the size, the dimensions. Once it's all laid out and created the exact way that we want in this 2-dimensional format, this blueprint, what happens next? We then spit out all the specifications, the mathematics, the weight loads, how to transfer weight loads from different floors, all right? Where to put the windows, where to put the electric outlets, all the specific information, and of course, all the mathematics to make sure it's a stable and sound structure are within that blueprint. Now, from that blueprint, because the master architect runs this information through a program that is influenced by engineers. An engineer finally has to sign off on this blueprint. So an engineer will run the numbers, the size of the doors, the size of the windows, the opening of this aperture, the base, the foundation, the building materials, the weight loads, the height. All these things are taken in consideration. And now a real engineer has to go through these official numbers and all this official information, and then process it and say, yes, I give the stamp of approval. This building will stand. Once that's done, now a construction crew and a land developer can come and they can begin working on the foundation. Once the foundation is done and set and laid, then someone from the local county or state has to come and approve that foundation work before they can put one more block on top of it. Once that's done, the construction team, now the workers, can come and start putting the structure together and building it with cranes and tools and handwork and machinery and drills and all of that stuff. That's the initial process in a rough draft mode. That's what we do today. In ancient times, building these megalithic structures will require even more of an understanding of what you're working with, because you're dealing with pieces of stone and God knows what type of materials they use to build these cylinders that really, they outdo our conventional means of construction. So you as a civilization that's living in an era, according to mainstream science, that is not civilized as we are today, that doesn't have the technology that we have today, doesn't have the access to resources that we have today. But now all of a sudden, this civilization says, we're going to utilize all the resources and all the energy of the people within our civilization to build these megalithic structures on the Giza Plateau. And this is the idea that we came up with. We saw it in a dream. We want to build a 2-kilometer underground megacity that might be able to transfer energy to the different areas underneath the plateau. We want to build tunnels that go from the pyramids to Mesopotamia. We want to build structures on top of the land that shoot up high into the sky that could be seen from miles away. And one of them is going to have over 2 million blocks of stone. And not only that, each stone on that Great Pyramid is going to be an individually cut piece of stone for the exact location that it sits in, like a giant interlocking puzzle. Not two stones will ever be the same. And we're going to cut solid shaft. We're going to cut shafts through solid stone in perfect angles, going even deep beneath the bedrock, all the way back to the surface. And there'll be no excavation of any of the cut stone needed, because the stone will be completely pulverized and it will be gone. And we're going to do all of this based on us guessing and hoping it might work out. No. They, just like our modern engineers, archaeologists, and construction workers and land developers today in the 21st century, they back then had foreknowledge. They had built this and already knew it was going to work in the past somewhere else. They duplicated what they done and they have already had done and perfected somewhere and reproduced it here, or there, I should say. I'm always in Egypt a lot, so I say here because I'm used to being in Egypt. They reproduced it there on the Giza Plateau. You don't accidentally dig holes in the ground beneath solid bedrock and excavate millions, hundreds of millions, maybe of tons of soil and sand, and do it in a way that prevents collapse, do it in a way that harnesses the Nile River, do it in a way that when you build it up, it comes back to a solid foundation, and then stack millions of stones on top of that in a way that creates a structure that has hidden chambers and paths and shafts and everything else that all have a specific function. You can't do that by guesswork. You cannot do that by happenstance. Because if you pull the resources of your civilization and it fails, you just wasted an entire civilization's resources and probably could have put that civilization under to the point where it would have to move or either be taken over by someone else. What they did here is so astounding and so mind-blowing, it's almost unfathomable. It, to me, proves advanced foreknowledge of the process. This technology, this build that they created, this structure that they built, this wasn't the first time that they did this. The perfection is outstanding. The precision is outstanding and mind-blowing. I've been there. I've been inside these pyramids. I've climbed them. I hiked inside the shafts. I've descended beneath the bedrock. I've walked in the tubes beneath. I've seen things there that less than 1/10 of 1% of the world even know exist. And a lesser, smaller percentage of that has ever even been able to go there and do these things. Except for the people that I take with me on my tours. And these are private visits that we do. They're super exclusive, private VIP visits. And what I'm telling you is when you're there and you see this with your own eyes and you touch it with your own hands, you begin to realize this was not done by primitive people. This was not done by people that didn't have tools, because we actually show you the tool marks. And we don't show you any old standard tool marks made by grinding stones together, because I can make a tool out of a rock. Chimpanzees in the wild, they make tools all the time. Birds make tools. They'll use stones as tools, even birds. No, we're going to show you tools that leave tool marks like advanced drilling, but not any type of advanced drilling. Drilling that is so sophisticated that we don't have a drill bit that can match what those drills were doing. We don't have saws today. And we take engineers with us to these tours. We had one of the world's top engineers on our last tour in October. The guy, every day he saw us and every day we went out, his brain exploded every single day. One of the top in the world, this guy. He's one of the only people in the whole planet that can use a specific type of a crane to build megalithic, or we call megalithic today, these high rises and so forth. He was doing calculus nonstop on the whole trip, and he couldn't figure out a way with what he knows and the tools he has access to replicate some of the things that we took him to see. These people were advanced. Now, also in Egypt, at some of the temples that are now, we call them temples, but they're not really temples. They're like storehouses of information around the Giza Plateau. The structures are all worn down, but they found a lot of the records inside these structures and accounts. The records talk about the people that worked on the pyramids. Now, as far as I know, slaves are called slaves because they don't get paid. There's no money, right? Excuse me, guys. There's no money in slavery. The money only goes to the slave owner. So why do we have paychecks? There are accounts on records, ancient records, that show the people that were doing a lot of the labor got paid. They were getting paid. There are a lot of medical records showing that they had a rudimentary form of insurance back then. And the people that were working on the pyramids, if they got injured, they were taken care of. They even state what kind of injury they got. I broke a forearm, snapped a femur, whatever. It's in those records, which you can go to the museum. People getting paid, people having insurance to do the work in case they get injured. So was it some grueling work going on? Absolutely. The people that built the pyramids were not these Anuna or the Anunnaki. According to the Egyptians, they called them the netters. The netters did not build the pyramid. The netters gave out the architectural blueprint and the instructions and the teaching on how to build these structures. If you go to any construction site today, Joe, go find a construction site. And I want you to go out to the site and say, hey, where's the master architect? I don't see him lifting any stones. Is he out here? Is he the one putting the blocks? Is he running the crane? They're going to laugh at you and say, that guy's not running no damn crane. That guy's in some high-rise office overlooking Manhattan. He's not out here. The master architect is not on site. He may visit the site from time to time, see how things are going, but the master architect is not out there sweating in the hot sun. The master architect has an engineer and a foreman. Now, those two guys are on site. They're on site. The engineer is making sure things are going as planned and looking for any structural integrity issues or any other problems here or there, here to answer questions or whatever, but he's not really sweating doing back-breaking labor. And then you're going to have the foreman. He's overseeing the construction workers. The construction workers are going to be out there doing the hard labor, and the foreman's going to oversee them. He's going to rule over them. He's going to instruct them. He's going to organize them in a fashion that gets this job done on the exact deadlines that they've been given to get it done. And then, like I say, you have the real workers that are out there grinding, doing the actual, real, true labor. Those are the human beings. So all these years, I've explained this. When people say aliens built the pyramids, it's not that simple. It's just not that simple. My hypothesis is that people, and I do mean people that look just like us, came here and created a breakaway civilization. And why do I believe they came here? Well, the ancient text talks about people coming here. Even the biblical texts in the Quran talk about people coming here. The book of Enoch talks about people coming here. Teaching people. All of them say the same thing. They taught human beings. The Dogon tribe talk about people coming here. They call them the Nomo, coming from Sirius B. The Aboriginals in Australia talk about people bringing them here and seeding them on the planet. The Hopi and Lakota tribe in the Americas talk about people. They call them star brothers, bringing them here from Pleiades and seeding them on this planet. It's too many coincidences to call it a coincidence anymore. People came here, and in some way, they had advanced knowledge, advanced tooling, advanced engineering, advanced construction techniques, and they taught other people, our ancestors, to do the labor, to bear the load, as it says in the ancient text. It says to bear the load. That means do the work. That means get your ass out there in that sun and start grinding, because this thing got to be built on time. So we need to use this technology, this stone technology. Get out here and make it happen. And it was an honor for them to do the work because they were working for the gods. And they were getting paid, as we have evidence of. They didn't work for free. So wherever you are on this planet, you heard that slaves built the pyramids. Toss that out because it's absolute farce. It's fake. It's fake news. The next time your pastor tells you that, tell them, well, how come they have records of the people being paid? Didn't happen. Another thing about slaves building pyramids. Everywhere you go on this planet, every single race has been enslaved at one point in the past. Every race, listen to my words, every race has been enslaved at some point in the past. Black people are one of the more recent ones out of this horrible, dark history of humanity. One thing we find across all historic references to slavery and slaves is that they were kept ignorant, because you can't have smart slaves. You see what happens when the slaves begin to get intelligent. They fight back. They realize we don't need a master. And they rebel. In every single case, in every race, in every historical aspect, this has always happened. Hence, there will never be a planet of slaves on a long-term basis, because at some point the slaves always get too smart and they realize what the hell's going on here. Case in point, Adam and Eve in the garden realized when Enki called the serpent, in ancient times, snakes were a symbol of wisdom, not evil. That's another twist they gave y'all. Snakes are a symbol of wisdom and intelligence. So when the snake, who was Ea Enki, came to give them this advanced knowledge of who they truly were and that they were not animals, and they woke up and they were enlightened, what happened? They said, we're getting the hell out of here. This is crazy. They realized, man, let me get some clothes on. I'm not an animal. Let me get some clothes and I'm out of this. This is ridiculous. I'm being pimped. I don't care where you go. When a slave gets intelligence, they're no longer slaves anymore. Like a famous abolitionist and a man that fought against slavery, I forget his exact name at this moment, but he said, knowledge makes man unfit to be a slave. He says, knowledge makes man unfit to be a slave. And it's an absolute fact. So if you're thinking that slaves built these pyramids, you've been beguiled by whoever told you that, because they had nothing to do with building any of these pyramids. You can't get a person to build a structure like this, 2,000 kilometers, 2,000 feet deep, columns that are 2,000 feet deep, 6,500 feet wide, boxes down there that God knows what technology they possess that can hold 64,000 people inside of them if we needed to get a size of an actual understanding of the size of this structure. Potentially moving energy to and fro underneath the plateau, and then to build structures on top that needed millions of blocks, each block a total different size than the other block, a total different shape than the other block, more than 2 million pieces of an individually interlocked puzzle. And you're going to tell me that a slave just got out there and helped build these things? Sorry, it didn't happen. Wipe it out of your brain. Wipe it out of your brain. Didn't happen. Slaves have always been ignorant, untaught, unread. They damn sure don't know calculus and trigonometry, which is what you would need to know to build that structure. They damn sure don't know advanced engineering techniques, which is what you would need to know to build that structure. So wipe that out of your brain. People who knew what the hell they were doing with advanced tooling and advanced engineering built that. People beyond today's level of understanding of engineering and technology built that. This version of human that we are here now with our level of intelligence, we are not the end all be all. We are the new kids on the block. And all we do is rediscover what already existed. That's all we do. We don't discover or create or build anything new. We rediscover everything that has already happened and everything that's already existed. There's nothing new under the sun. It says that in Ecclesiastes, and I agree with that statement. Ecclesiastes in the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. I confirm and agree with that 1,000%. There is nothing new under the sun. My mother told me that back in the 1970s. She said advanced beings came to this planet and built advanced cities. She didn't say aliens. She said advanced beings. Even she knew, my mother even knew, that these were people. Just like us. And we're only finding our way in the dark. And to prove that, look at AI. We're unleashing softwares and technologies on the world like little children playing with fireworks. Like little children playing with fireworks. No oversight, no parameters, no rules. It's like a kid playing with a match and a lighter when nobody's home. Accidentally burns the house down. That's what we're doing right now. But we're just children here. Humanity right now, the civilization on this planet, we're like babies. We're not even toddlers yet. We haven't even achieved a type 0. We're at a type 0. We haven't even achieved a type 1 civilization. We're a type 0 civilization. We haven't even got to type 1 yet. We should have been. But dogma and religion have destroyed us and held us back. We're probably 1,000 years behind of where we should be right now because of that. That's neither here or there. This discovery is mind-blowing and amazing. It's one of the greatest discoveries in history on this planet to date. It proves that the pyramids at Giza were built using advanced technology and advanced engineering. And it shows that we have a lot to learn about what happened in the ancient past. The past is prologue, which means that what happened in the past is bound to happen in the future. So if we can get an understanding of what really truly happened, not the fake story that they give us in the mainstream, but the true and real information that's out there for us to grasp and discern and understand, we can truly build a much better future for ourselves and avoid a lot of mistakes and take our civilization to the next level. We should already be operating with free energy. We should already be operating with anti-gravity. There's no way on God's green earth that Elon Musk should be launching chemically fueled rockets into space. It's so antiquated, it's so ancient, it's so old. There's no way on God's green earth are we still driving around in combustion engines and electric vehicles with toxic chemical-based lithium and cobalt batteries that are toxic to the earth itself, that explode when they get water on them. There's no way we should be still doing this right now. We should be so far more advanced than where we are. Now, the advancements are coming, but they're coming with no real true guidelines and they're being unleashed on us. So we'll see a situation where we will begin to advance on certain areas and aspects of health and diseases and people who have prosthetic arms and legs and things like that, or people who are paralyzed can use their mind to turn things off and on and type using their thoughts and all of that. This is phenomenal. On the other hand, until we take control of this technology, and when I say we, I'm talking about the civilians, the people of the planet, they will put a lot of people out of jobs. Maybe 70, 80% of people will be jobless, which you see crime will spike significantly until universal income comes out. Until there's a universal income, it might get a little dark for a little while. But the universal income in some way, somehow it has to come. And then from there, things might might find a more level equilibrium, because water will always find its level. But there will be this ebb and flow of this up and down, like a little bit of a roller coaster, while this whole technology of AI and AGI and robotics and all this comes in and finally finds a level of balance. At first, it will be extreme, and then at some point, we'll have to wrestle it back down to a level of reality, because it's going to come and hit us. It's going to hit a lot of people really, really hard in the very beginning, and there will be a need for universal income. But the point I'm making is we are advancing technologically at a very fast pace in certain areas, but that fast pace in those areas are actually dangerous. You know, we need more balance. We need more balance. We need more understanding, and we need to inject more conscious spiritual energy into the work that we're doing with technology, so that we're creating conscious-based technology, not unconscious technology, because technology is going to become a fractal of what we have up here. It's going to become a fractal of our spiritual ideas, our spiritual concepts. And so if we are utilizing or creating and building tech that doesn't have the mind of the creator within it, it's going to be dangerous for us, okay? Which is hence what potentially happened to Atlantis. Potentially what happened to Atlantis, it was destroyed. Potentially what happened to Lemuria. They reached a high level of technology, and then all of a sudden they had a huge collapse. It can happen to anyone, okay? It may have even happened to the ancient Egyptians. According to the ancient text, there were wars. And the evidence of these wars, which is why this technology, like what we just saw today, what I talked about today, has just been left behind and abandoned. People say, why would they build all these things and just disappear? Where are they? Well, if you understand the text, you'll realize that there was a global war on this planet in ancient times. Well, where's the evidence of this war? Where's all the evidence of these wars you're talking about? Well, let's go take a trip around the world. Let's go take a trip to Pakistan, to Mohenjo-daro in the Indus Valley, where the buildings that the people lived in back then are still there, but of course they're worn down, but the buildings have turned into glass. And the people's bodies are laid out in the street, some still holding hands today. No evidence of any scavenging of their bones or their bodies from any animals. And when you take a Geiger counter out and put a Geiger counter down to the bodies or up to the structures that are left behind, they're higher than background level radiation, even today, proving that something with high radiation, potentially nuclear blast, happened in the ancient past and destroyed that entire civilization. You look at Africa from a satellite image, and you see all this desert, the Sahara, expanded at a very rapid pace. If you were able to rewind the Sahara Desert, you'll realize it was a very tropical place at once. Even right up to the pyramids was very tropical. It wasn't always this dried out desert. If you go deep into the sands of Giza, sometimes you pull up balls of glass. How do you get balls of glass in sand? You need 3,000 degrees temperatures. We're talking about vitrification. The buildings at Mohenjo-daro, vitrified. The balls of glass at Giza, vitrified. The Pyramid of Djoser, blown up. The temple at the diorite and granite temple, megalithic temple at Elephantine Island, blown up. I show all of these in my videos and my docuseries. If you haven't seen any of this, you got to go to Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed docuseries on my Forbidden Knowledge TV app. If you don't have the app, get it on your app store. Go to your app store and type in the number 4, Forbidden Knowledge TV, and get the app. It's free. There's a lot of free content on there. There's also subscription-based content on there. The Anunnaki Ancient Secrets docuseries is on there, the full season number 1. Go on there and watch it. I give all the sources to what I'm talking about on that professionally filmed docuseries. It's so well done and produced. It can be on Amazon Prime. It can be on Netflix. It can be on any platform. It's super, super. We played it in Regal Cinemas on IMAX screens when it first came out. That's the level of quality of that docuseries. So make sure you guys go and check that out. If you don't have the app, you can go also online. You can go to 4bk.tv, okay? I'll type it in the live chat. 4bk.tv. And you can go watch it online. You can put it on any kind of device you want. You can watch it anywhere, anytime, any place. Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV, LG TV, Samsung TV. So it doesn't matter where you go, you'll find the app. Android TV, it's on everything. Make sure you guys go to forbiddenknowledge.tv or Forbidden Knowledge TV app and watch that docuseries. There's a lot of incredible, mind-blowing information there, okay? And they'll answer a lot of questions that you may have. Those questions will be answered right there within that series. Right there within the series, all right? Also, drop this last link here. We have a great time going and checking out these pyramids. Let me see in the live chat, how many people have seen me and my wife walk through the underground shafts for damn near a mile underneath Saqqara? How many people have seen that? Let me see if I can find a clip of that real quick for you guys to check out. All right, let me see if I can find a quick clip. Before I do that, let me show you the halls of Amenti, because I told you I was going to show you something in the halls of Amenti. Let me show you that real quick. I almost forgot. I'm glad I didn't hop off here. Let me show you guys something. This is my wife and I sitting on top of one of the sarcophagi in the halls of Amenti, located in Saqqara a few years ago. Okay, then my wife Elizabeth and I sitting on top of a lid of a sarcophagi underground in Saqqara. This is me, obviously, inside of a pyramid shaft. Okay, climbing up out of a pyramid shaft. And we take people to do this with us every single year. We take you to see, like I said, the most astounding things that hardly anyone on this planet will ever get a chance to see. You can come do this with us and have a great time doing it and explore the world in a way you've never been able to do before. Okay? And this is on our Forbidden Tour of Egypt. And we climb miles within the pyramid sometimes. When you calculate the distance in and distance back out, we've gone miles inside of an ancient structure. I just dropped the link in the live chat if you want to register for that tour, all right? And when we're there, you can see me here, I'm teaching the people. So when we go on these tours, you're being taught knowledge. You're being taught actual knowledge. We're not there to just party and have fun. We're there to learn. And at the end of the tour, on this tour coming up, you'll get a certificate of completion, like a little diploma that you went through this, because I'll be doing lectures on the tour almost every day while we're on the Nile. And on site, you're going to get the real knowledge, not the fake mainstream knowledge. Okay? But again, you got to click that link in the caption of this video or audio or in the live chat so that you can come on tour and take part in this amazing life-changing experience that's going to change your perspective on yourself and the world as you know it. Check this out. Billy Carson there, Forbidden Knowledge. Guys, I'm inside of the Serapeum at Saqqara. This place is incredible. First of all, there's things in here you wouldn't even imagine could exist. The lid on this sarcophagus is super massive. It weighs about 70 tons. The base weighs about another 80 tons. The two together, well over 100 tons of granite from Aswan, which is about maybe 200 miles, maybe 300 miles away from here. We're in the middle of the desert. Not only that, how did they get it into this narrow area and set it in here like this? And what was it for? Why create something this massive in a place like this? The answers are on Forbidden Knowledge TV. forbiddenknowledge.tv. All right. So I was there in the halls of Amenti. I take people down there to see the most astounding things. There's a room in there that has a big steel door with a huge bolt lock on it. That's all underground. What you just saw, those halls are all underground. And this door is always locked, but no one's allowed to go in there except for the people that run the grounds. But when the Forbidden family shows up, we get a key. We have the GM come out, the person that runs the grounds and everything else, and secures everything, give us a key. We unlock that and go in. Last year, we didn't have a key because the gentleman forgot the key, but we made a phone call to the government and they gave us the approval to break the lock as long as we replaced the lock, which we did. So we smashed the lock with a tool and took people in to see something that just blew their minds. A 1,500-ton diorite box, which confirmed, when I went in there, it confirmed my hypothesis that these boxes were giving off energy and were part of a battery bank for the rejuvenation chambers. As soon as we went in there, and you come with me, you'll see it with your own eyes, that box has a radiation symbol on the lid. And I take a Geiger counter with me every time I go. The Geiger counter reads out higher than background level radiation. So my hypothesis on that was right, because when I went in that room, boom, the symbol for radioactivity on the gigantic megalithic lid. Now I'm 6'4", and the top of the box is about 4 inches above my head, and then the lid, it probably is about 4 feet tall. So the lid is about 4 feet tall in its own thickness or height. It spreads out across this entire megalithic box that's cut with some type of tool that we don't even understand. We don't even have that tool today. You can only cut diorite with diorite or a diamond. And it's so megalithic, the corner it's sitting in, you can't cut it in that corner. Because you remember, to cut something down to a particular size when you're dealing with stone, it needs to be almost 2/3 larger than what you're cutting it down to, which means you couldn't even get the uncut piece in there. It can't fit. Those boxes were in those halls, those rejuvenation chambers were teleported in there or maybe in some way manifested, okay? There's so much energy down there, you can feel it. Now, why can you feel the energy? That sounds all spiritual and woo-woo. No, it's actually real science. The reason why you can feel the energy when you go to Egypt is two reasons. The first reason is the majority of the sites we visit are built on top of these magnetic fields that whip out of the earth. How in the hell do these people know where all these magnetic fields were located? They were masters at energy grids. They understood Earth's natural energy force. They had some way of understanding or knowing where the energy ley lines were located, and they would harness and use that energy within the structures. So you can feel that magnetic field flowing through your body as it has a direct effect on every cell in your body and every thought in your mind. The second reason, these structures that we go to see typically are made from megalithic blocks of crystal diorite and crystal granite. 30 to 40% crystal within each stone. That's a lot of crystal when you look at the size of some of these blocks. Crystal oscillates or it vibrates at a very high frequency. Crystal is alive. It's a living thing, okay? Crystal is alive. And since crystal is alive, it vibrates and oscillates at a very high rate. It communicates. You can communicate through crystal, we know, because we created something called the crystal set radio. Right? Tesla did that back in the doggone 1800s. So we know crystals transmit information to and fro. So they send and receive information. They can duplicate themselves. Like humans can duplicate themselves, they can duplicate themselves. Crystals are said to have a level of intelligence. Crystals have energy. Human beings have energy. How do we know crystals store energy? Well, if you have a lighter, when you flick that lighter, what's making the flame come out? The flame is coming out of a lighter, not because there's flint or something that gets rubbed and a flame from the gas comes up. The lighter is creating a flame because there's a crystal inside the lighter. And when you flick it, it puts pressure on the crystal and that creates a spark. and then the fuel ignites that spark and you have a flame, okay? Neil Ray, thank you for the donation. Neil says, thank you for all the vast knowledge you've given us on ancient history and tech. God bless you. You have taught me so much knowledge on things I never knew. Thank you for talking about this topic. No problem. Thank you, Neil Ray. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the donation. Much, much appreciated. Okay. So that's how a lighter works. It works because you put pressure on a crystal. What do human beings have inside their skull? In your third eye, your pineal gland is made of what? Crystals. What is a Kundalini awakening? Well, when you put the spinal fluid, you can run it up the spine, up to 33 vertebrae, into the third eye and put pressure on the crystal, it sparks. And once that spark releases DMT and you have an awakening, you have a psychedelic experience from the crystals that spark the energy and release the DMT within the third eye into the brain. And so when you walk to these ancient sites, these crystals, the amount of crystal in these structures and these statues, they actually interact with the cells in your body and the neuron synapses inside of your brain. So you can feel the energy, like literally feel the energy. It's not just a statement. It's a wild thing. The statues in Egypt, like the Sphinx and the other statues, like the Ramesseum, the ancient Egyptians believed that they were living beings. They believed that the temples were living beings. The temple itself was alive because of the crystal content within the structure. Okay? This is the real knowledge. On my TV network, Forbidden Knowledge TV app, I have 39 episodes of Egyptian Mystery School. Each episode about 45 minutes. That's a lot of information. You can go on there and binge watch the Egyptian Mystery School on the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. Okay. We also have the Mystery School of Truth by Matthew LaCroix, another great TV series on there that you can watch, which gives you a lot of ancient knowledge as well. Okay. And again, of course, we have the Forbidden Tour of Egypt. And there's probably only 9 spots left, I believe, coming up for the one in October. So if you want to come on that tour with me, make sure you register for it ASAP. Make sure you guys register ASAP. Now, let me show you some more of these sarcophagi underground. Let me go to a little video clip here and show you some more of this amazing stuff. This is just mind-blowing stuff, okay? Let's see here.
Hey everyone, it's Billy Carson here, aka Forbidden Knowledge. I'm here in the Serapeum, which just might be the halls of Amenti talked about in the Animal Tablets. I'm standing in one of the alcoves of one of the halls where there's about 100-ton solid granite box here. Now, there have never been any bodies or skeletons found in these boxes, even though the lids weigh about 60, 70 tons, and they're all open. Now, what's interesting is what was in here. Could these be part of the halls of Amenti? Take a look at this hole here. And inside of here, you see charred rocks. Could some energy blast come through here and then in some way hit this box, this solid granite box, and warp it with some type of exotic energy? And these also represent portals and stargates, and they go all the way around the box. So I personally believe we're standing in the halls of Amenti. That's crazy.
Yeah, we take people down there. That is actually, I found out a little bit later that that's even harder than granite. So for it to be warped like water is amazing, because that was actually a stone that's higher on the Mohs scale of hardness called diorite. So that was crystal diorite, which I learned later was crystal diorite. I mislabeled it as misnamed it as granite. It's actually diorite, which is even more crazy. That you can warp diorite like water. Like you can make it look like it was just melted. And it lined up perfectly with that opening in the rock that looked like something blew out, and there were pieces of debris out in front on the floor of charred stones that came out of that wall. It's bizarre. Something blew through the wall and hit that diorite, that crystal diorite megalithic box, and warped it like it was just melted water. When you see it with your own eyes, it's mind-blowing. All those lines, those squares going around the diorite megalithic box, they're called sabas. They call them Saba. Staba is the ancient Egyptian word for Stargate. It's the only one in there with stargates going all the way around. And ironically, it gets hit with some kind of beam of energy that came from behind the wall and warped it, like turned it into look like a melted candle almost. You can't take a stone that hard and make it melt and warp like that without cracking it. And it's not burnt from any type of flame, or, well, a flame wouldn't even affect that thing anyway, but there's no scorching on it. It just looks completely molded and warped and bent with no cracking whatsoever. And because the lines from the Saba lines are perfectly straight and work within the warping, we know that the lines were put on there before the warping, whatever energy field hit it to create the warping of it. The lines were there prior, not after. Whoever cut that stone box or cut that design into that diorite with whatever tool they use is laser precision. It's amazing. And every box, when you put a level, so we put levels on the top, right above the place where the lid's missing or the lid's pushed back. Everyone is perfectly level. I mean, perfect to the T, underground, in the underground halls, chambers, perfectly level. Perfect every time. And that region has earthquakes from time to time. You mean to tell me that that thing is so stable underground, and that area is so stable underground that even earthquakes don't break the leveling on these megalithic 100+ ton boxes made of diorite and granite? It's crazy. Like I said, we see the craziest things. It was diorite. That blocks, I mean, you can only cut that with diorite or diamonds. Nothing less will cut into that. Nothing less. Not any other tool that you use on the box that you saw me with in that video clip, it will break. It will snap. The tool will snap. The bit will break or melt. Another thing is when you're cutting a box that big and the inside is smooth like a baby's bottom. I mean, perfectly smooth and perfectly 90-degree angles and perfectly level on the inside. I don't think we have a tool today that can make those cuts and create that interior of that megalithic sarcophagi like that. I don't think we have a tool today that can do it. If we have anything, it would overheat and probably melt. If you ask somebody to make something, we asked an engineer, could he reproduce something like this? He said he could do it if I made it in pieces. In other words, if he made it in 4 different pieces and then put it together, like glue, not glue, but whatever he uses, whatever he would use to actually mold it together. But he said, if I made it in pieces, I can probably duplicate something like this. I wouldn't be able to take one solid stone and turn it into this with any tool that he knew of. And these are underground in halls. Another hall of Amenti. I believe that location I was in was Enki, E.R. Enki's halls of Amenti, or also known as Thothme in the Emerald Tablets, where he was the father of Thoth. He was called Thothme. And he said that he would dwell there and that he would put his body in these underground chambers and he would allow them to rejuvenate. Thoth talks about walking amongst men, but unlike a man, that his body would rejuvenate in these boxes. And then when he needed a new body, he would transfer his consciousness into a new body and walk amongst men, but unlike a man. Nothing has ever been found in any of these boxes, and they can only look inside the ones that are already open, because the ones that are sealed, we can't open them. We don't have anything that can open the sealed boxes. It's as if they're hermetically sealed. There's no way to open them. The only ones that we were opened were 2. And how did we open them? We didn't open them. We blew them up with dynamite to see what was inside. You can't even take the lid off of these things. What a perfect way to conceal a body if you have it laying there for 100 years at a time, which is what they said they would do. They say in the text, they say that they would put a body in there and leave it in there for 100 years. That's not me saying this stuff. This is written in ancient text. If you have a body laying around for 100 years inside of one of these boxes, you want to make sure nobody steals it or comes in there and takes the lid off. Now, how do they open the lid from the inside? But how do the ones who have the lid open, how did they open them? We have no tool that can open those lids. None. We can only blow them up with dynamite or C4, right? Same thing, basically. That's mind-blowing. Let me show you another one here. All right, let me find this here. Check this journey out.
I believe yours.
I'm like holding a water bottle in my phone.
Oh yeah. 3, 2. Yes. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Okay.
I'll get one of you guys walking.
This is a good shot.
Yep, I'm a duck. Watch your head right here.
Yeah, I'm too small. I don't have that.
Same. I don't think they're pretty tall.
I guess the Egyptians, they were my size. They built this.
Underground tunnel at the Step Pyramid in Saqqara. Private tour. Make sure you click that link and register for the Forbidden Tour of Egypt immediately if you want to explore this with us next year. Here we go. Watch your head.
Keine Ahnung. Musste nur mittragen. An der Neck. Ach, das stimmt. Du bist ja auch eine Fledermaus.
We're hiking in the Step Pyramid at Saqqara. Wow.
Jetzt bin ich auf Kamera mit der Sonne.
Ja.
100 Meter Hintergrund, wir sind mit der Sonne.
The cool guy.
Watch your head.
Oh wow. This is insane.
Guck mal, die haben mir gesagt, dass ich sein werde.
Gestrahlt?
Ja, ja.
It just keeps going and going.
Und darum brauche ich die.
Du strahlst selber. Die Sonne. Das ist schon krass.
You want to come on the Forbidden Tour of Egypt 2024? Click that link ASAP.
Riecht besser aus wie Diesel noch draußen.
We're gonna go sideways. Be careful here. Watch your head. Which way do we go?
Ich trainiere auch mit Gewicht und nicht meine Balance.
Ja, und es gibt ein Gewicht hier, darum hast du kein Gleich.
Genau.
Weil Gewicht ist davon Gleichgewicht. Darum heißt es so.
Normally we come in up there, and this time we're down here. Amazing. We came in at the base. Normally we come in up there and we stand right up there. Yeah, we look over. I think it's further back a little bit off the stone there. We look down into this sarcophagus or whatever this box is. This is rose granite. Look, it goes down more. Yeah, so yeah, I can see it's an adventure, man. We have adventures when we go out to these places. We took all those people down there. It's like an adventure. It's an absolute amazing adventure. And that place goes on for so many more miles underground. We could have just kept going and going and going and going. In 2021, I believe it was, my wife and I got lost down there for about an hour. Unfortunately, we had a guide, and we still got lost. It was crazy, but we got out. We now know the whole lay of the land and how to maneuver down there. But there's a lot to see. There's so much more down there that, you know, some of the stuff down there is forbidden to be filmed. So we couldn't show you some of the other stuff that we found. But you just have to be there to see it in person. That's the best way you can do it. There's a lot of forbidden stuff there that in some places they take your technology, they take your camera, your phone. You get it back, obviously, but you can't go see some of the things with the devices because they're forbidden for the general public to be seen. When we take you to some of the museums to go see the mummies with the elongated skulls in Egypt, if they catch you taking a photo, they will take your device, delete the image, and then go to your trash and delete the image again. And if you have an attitude or you give a fight about it, they will lock you up. Okay, so we're talking serious here. Like, this stuff is forbidden for real. The number 4, forbidden for real. They will, well, listen, these people don't play. So, but there's so much to see. This is why it's like one of these places where to see everything, you got to be there in person. You know what I mean? You got to be there in person. So it's pretty cool. Now, somebody did ask me a question earlier about Snyder. Let me see if I can find him real quick. Phil Snyder, I believe he asked me about. Yeah, here you go. P2Q. Thank you for the donation, P2Q. Can you please give your opinion about Phil Snyder? Philip Snyder was a American geologist that worked and did contracted work for the U.S. military and government. And in one of his projects that he was working on, ended up getting into an area underground that opened up into a chamber where there were non-human entities. And the military troops that went down with him ended up, some person, I guess they got fearful or scared, pulled the trigger, shot one of these entities. The entities fought back with weapons that they happened to have. The weapon struck Phil Snyder and took off part of his torso and part of his hand, and which he visibly have the actual real injuries to show, which are well documented, and the hospital bills to show, well documented. He came out public to talk about this incident, and when he came out to talk about the incident publicly, he ended up, when he went back to the hospital for another checkup and to get more treatment on the wounds that he had, which looked like he was like his arm, his hand and his body were just hit with a laser and just sliced with some type of a hot device. When he went back to the hospital, he accidentally got suicided as they found him with the IV cord wrapped around his neck. Yeah, so he accidentally got suicided in the hospital room going in for treatment. That happened in real life. Phil Snyder. So shout out to Phil, the late, great Phil Snyder. Rest in peace, rest in power. All right. So it was a crazy thing that actually happened here on Earth, documented. Now, how come that's not on the news every single day? You know, just wow. Thank you for asking questions about Phil Snyder, the late, great Phil Snyder. Anyway, guys, this has been a great talk today. I do want to drop one last link in the live chat. I'm doing a free workshop. Let me grab the link for you real quick. I'm doing a free workshop, and that's going to be in April. I think it's April the 18th or something like that. It's going to be a virtual online workshop, but it's free. And I'll tell you why I'm doing it free. I'm doing it for free because it's going to help. There's a donation button there when you go to get your ticket, when you go to register for the free event. You don't have to make a donation. You do not have to make any donations whatsoever. Okay, you don't. But if you decide to, if you choose to, it's helping children, the children of the Congo. And there's a video of me on there with my connection in the Congo who runs the orphanages. Every year we donate money to the orphanages. We've donated money on stage at the Conscious Awards to the orphanages. We donate money throughout the year to these orphanages. And there's more children being orphaned by the day in the Congo because of the unfortunate wars, because of the forced child labor being done by major corporations that need these Tesla batteries, lithium and cobalt mines. And the war that's breaking out there has created even more orphans. So I'm doing a free workshop on the quantum codes of creation, and I'll be doing a 5-hour class online for free. And the event's going to dive into the fascinating world of quantum codes and uncover the secrets of creation. So I'm asking people to join me for an online enlightening experience to explore the quantum mechanics and its influence on the universe. And the event is going to be for people with curious minds and want to know more about the fractal holographic nature of the universe. What does that mean? Do you want to learn about quasi-crystals, quantum technology, the quantum field, fractal mathematics, and everything about us that creates the realm that we live in? It'll be a free scientific workshop that I'm going to be doing, and that will be coming up. I'm looking for the date now. The exact date is April 20th, 3 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll drop the link here. If you so decide to make a donation throughout the checkout process, that will be great to help out these kids. You don't have to do it, but if you do, that's where the money's going. All right, so that would be phenomenal. So anyway, I'll do that free 5-hour teaching workshop. It's not a bait and switch where you have to buy something else at the end. It's people who have done my free workshops say, no, I teach for 5 hours. I'll give you a break for water and the bathroom in between, and we keep on going. We just keep learning. Very, very intensive workshop, and there'll be unlimited free replays of the workshop in case you want to watch it later on, okay? And so it's just a sacrifice and a donation that I'm making to society in exchange for trying to help raise some money for the children of the Congo and the orphanages that are there, okay? Hopefully you can be a part of that and join me on April the 20th for 5 hours, and we'll share some knowledge and do a lot of Q&A together, all right? So that, again, April 20th, and I'll drop the link again in the live chat. If you're on x.com, the link is going to be in my bio. If you're on x.com, the link is in my bio. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, the link is in the caption of the video or the live chat. If you're listening to this on an audio podcast somewhere, the link will be in the caption of this audio, okay? Thank you, Princess Yada. Princess Yada said, let me get you up here on the screen, Princess Yada. Princess Yoda says, Billy's workshops are awesome. I'm signed up, looking forward to it. Thank you, Princess Yoda. Thank you for always being a great supporter and being a part of my workshops. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And thank you for making the comments so people can see, yes, these workshops are real knowledge. I've done 8-hour, 10-hour, 15-hour workshops before online, and thousands of people come in there and take part in the whole workshop, all right? So again, I'll drop the link one more time. It's a free workshop. Like I said before, there's nothing required of you to pay. If you so choose and you want to make a donation, great. There's also add-ons in there. So let's say you feel like, well, I want to make a donation, but I want something for it. Well, I can send you an autographed copy of my book. That there's add-ons in there as well. So you can pick and choose a few things, all right? But the workshop doesn't cost you any money. Thank y'all for hanging out with me today. Thank you for spending time on the Forbidden Knowledge podcast. Make sure you get that Forbidden Knowledge TV app on your app store and watch the Egyptian Mystery School and all of my ancient teachings, my new TV series, Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed. I'm going to drop the link directly to the series in here real quick. Let me just pull it up on my computer and then get you guys the link so you can go and binge watch all the episodes in season 1, which are out right now. Season 1 is on and it's popping right now. On the TV app, we have the same algorithm as Netflix, which populates like the top 10 shows. And right now, Anunnaki is #1, as you'll see when you click on this link to go check out the series. I'll drop the link in the live chat, right? If you're on the x.com, just go to your app store and get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app with the #4. I just dropped the live link in the live chat. All right. Oops, there you go. This chat's moving so fast. The structure beneath the pyramid looks like a giant mega battery. Yes, it does. Endgame Exile. It looks like a giant mega battery. It looks like technology. Thank you for that input and thank you for the donation. All right. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Check out the Anunnaki series. And I'll be back again on Tuesday with more knowledge. Monday is tomorrow. I'm going to pop in Monday with Gaben Sarial. We're going to talk some financial literacy tomorrow. Tuesday, I'll pop back in. I'm going to probably do a free online workshop here, a free, not the one I'm doing on there, but a free webinar, not a free workshop, a free webinar on financial literacy on Tuesday. And then probably on Thursday, I'll do a podcast. I'm trying to complete the research for my podcast about the moon so that I can give you guys all the receipts. I'm looking forward to coming in with a lot of receipts on that one. That'll be there very soon. The full edited version of this video, this live I did today, the full edited version with background graphics and B-roll and clips and graphics will be on Forbidden Knowledge TV very soon, as the editors will take this. They will take my raw content. They will edit it and make it into a beautiful production on the Forbidden Knowledge TV app, which can be played on any TV or any device anywhere in the world. All right. I love you guys. Thank y'all for hanging out. We had almost 9,000 people on today. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
In an era shrouded in the midst of time, within the vast expanse of an uncharted cosmos, emerged the genesis of humankind. How did the odyssey of humanity begin? What secrets lie within our primordial roots? As I began to research ancient cultures, I discovered something quite interesting. Most of these ancient cultures all believe that life originated in the Pleiades. When you look at the indigenous North Americans, the Mayans, the Aboriginal tribes of Australia, the Egyptians, and even the Japanese, they all claim that they were seeded on this planet by people from the Pleiades. How can people separated by so many thousands of miles in different continents have the same exact story? There must be some fact rooted in the myth. This is the saga of the Anunnaki and their ancient secrets revealed.